Hi, I'm Heather Lynn. I'm one of the directors here of the residency program at SV Academy.
And I'm Jane. I'm the other director of the residency program here at SV.
And this is Dialed In Sales, Success, and Stories. SV was founded in 2017 by Rahim and Joel, who were on a mission to democratize access to the tech industry and provide wealth expansion for underrepresented job seekers.
In the last 8 years, we've graduated over 3,000 rising sales and customer success talent, worked with some of the most exciting companies like Salesforce, partnering and creating an accessible course for over 40,000 learners, trained talent for companies like Elation, Blackpoint Cyber, and Diligent, and been named Fast Company's SV Academy #2 most innovative education company in the world.
In the last year, under the guidance of our new CEO, Mike, we've shifted our model back towards innovating the approach companies have to hire and invest in early talent, where we train uncut gems and launched our residency program.
Now we're ready to share all the stories, inside knowledge, and continue cultivating conversations with leaders in the sales, tech, and customer success industries.
So today, our episode is featuring Rahim and Mike, sharing the inspiration of how SV Academy began 8 years ago and the growth that it's had in that time and all the inspiration they have for the future of SV Academy.
We hope you enjoy.
So, how have you seen the tech industry evolve, especially in recent years?
I mean, it's become a lot more sophisticated over time, like a lot more sophisticated. And I think like another way of saying it is it's become a lot more hard. Like it's like a hard industry to operate and succeed in, right? Um, and the nice thing about things that are hard and get harder is that like the payoff becomes bigger and bigger. And so like
Yeah.
if you're looking for something easy to do, right? Like the tech industry is not the place for you. And like over the years that I've been, in my own career and through SV, I've only seen it become less easy over that period of time. The flip side is when you look at the performance of our graduates, both like economically as well as just the level of fulfillment that they have working in this, and like they're and that can be measured in a lot of ways. But you also look at like the staying power, the tenure, the level of promotions that our alums have coming out of SV relative to like the average person who works in the industry. It's like well above and beyond. And I think it's because the more sophisticated the job becomes, both in terms of like the day-to-day tactics of what you do, in terms of like the team composition, including the the level of just preparedness and just competency of other people that you are working with, whether the products, as well as just the rate of change that you are seeing. Like across every one of these dimensions, it has become more sophisticated, and the more sophisticated things become, the more you are learning, the more you are growing, the more you are putting yourself to the test every single day. And I think we're in a moment right now where there's even more change happening as a result of AI. And I think if you really want to stay, not just get a pulse for where things are right now, but also sort of stay ahead, like just go on YouTube and just like watch interviews of the thought leaders in the space. And I mean like the Jensens at NVIDIA, the Benioffs at Salesforce, Satya Nadella at Microsoft. Like listen to the way they talk about the industry today, and where these companies are going, relative to what it might have been even just a few years ago. And you will see that things have become like more sophisticated, more exciting, and there's probably never been like a better place for someone to build out a career than in this industry doing this work, given just how fast things are moving right now. I mean, listen, I was sort of, just thinking about like just how much change this industry is going as a result of AI. And it's like a real change is happening on a day-to-day basis. And I'm, curious for you, like, how do you think that AI is changing, like, not just like the big picture, but like the day-to-day of this function?
Yeah, yeah. It's efficiency is the name of the game. if
Mm.
an SDR was initially booking one meeting or two meetings a day, with the advent of AI and the amount of tools and resources that are out there, that number needs to go up. And so now, one of the things that we're really focused on in our training is what are the different tools and tactics being used by the best companies can we implement and bring into the program and share that learning so that our residents that are being trained and prepped and ready to go, they can show their new employers, hey, here are some of the really cool new tools. Here are the new tactics that seem to be working at various companies, and really share that learning piece.
Yeah.
And frankly, that's by far the number one thing that we're seeing in terms of what makes an SDR succeed. And it is how efficient can you be to uh, not only as an individual contributor, but as a team member. And so the
Mm.
more that you're able to produce and be able to bring back to the team, I mean, it's probably the reason why we're seeing such high promotion rates from SV residents.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if we can share that learning, the market trends, the analysis that's happening, whether it's a job seeker market or if it's an employer market, being able to share that information across the board. And really, in terms of what we're seeing, the value is for employers really is that we're not just a place of super high quality talent. You know, that's there. The education has been there, but frankly, it's what more can we add to the team, and then that just
Mm.
comes down to number one, first and foremost, is efficiency.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it seems like so like sensible that efficiency is important. And at the same time, like I've heard this from you in some of our conversations in the last year, that things have really changed out there in the industry. And like the importance of um, coming in for our SV students, like the importance of like coming in strong and hitting the ground running isn't just something that like we put as a bullet on a slide anymore. It is like something that is like table stakes now. Like you can't do the job anymore if you're not coming in with like a lot of heat, right? And I think we've always
Yep.
been really good at that. I think the way you have and the team have really shaped the residency model is like 10xing in some ways what we've done before, and and everyone is benefiting, right? Our students and the employers. So on the employer side, I'm curious, like, what are you seeing? Maybe spend a little bit more time, sort of just given how we're talking about things are changing from the employer's side. Like, what's most important? Like, how can employers succeed? Because their jobs are also like there are more expectations for managers
Mm-hmm.
than there ever have been. Like, what have you learned about how managers can be more effective?
Yeah. So I really think from the employer side, the talent acquisition side of the equation is diversifying your talent pool. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we always like to talk about our candidates as being unpolished gems. If you have a perfect diamond that's applying, you're going to hire them right off the bat. But
Mm.
ultimately, you're having hundreds, probably thousands of people applying to the same job post, spending a lot of time having to screen them and interview them. And frankly, I think the stat is each resume gets about 3.5 seconds to view. And so we need to find new, unique ways to open the aperture of the
Yeah.
types of candidates that you see. And that's why we always say we have that overlooked talent for you. Um,
Yeah.
if you give away education for free, it opens the aperture of who you can serve. If you pay
Mm-hmm.
people a monthly stipend to cover their living expenses, uh,
Yeah.
that aperture is as wide as possible.
Mm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
we want to make sure that there are new, unique ways for employers to be sourcing talent that traditionally would, again, get overlooked. We want to find those seven, eights, and nine unpolished
Mm.
gems. Show you
Yeah.
that they have the potential. People that typically would
Yeah.
get far enough along in an interviewing process, but for some odd reason, you end up passing on them. For us, that's the exact type of person that we want because we know we can train them up to par. And by the time they
Yeah.
show up on
Yeah.
day one, they're a fully polished diamond ready to go. So
Yeah. Yeah.
ultimately it is how do you open up your aperture of looking for that untapped talent that exists today. They just aren't going through the traditional methods. And frankly,
Yeah.
we always say we're looking only the most motivated find us. So people
Yeah.
that are thinking
Totally.
outside the box, from a
Yeah.
job seeker's
Yeah.
perspective, you can't keep doing the same thing. I think that's the definition of insanity there. So
Insanity.
uh,
Yeah.
open up the different ways. Get creative of how you're applying
Yeah.
to roles and getting
Yeah.
that pre-training, get that door open for you, and then of course the mentoring to ensure you succeed in the role. It really has been a real game changer for a lot of the employers that we work with. In fact, we just had one yesterday. Hopefully, we'll be doing a LinkedIn post about this, but uh, we found that they said even though that we don't cost anything to the employer and we make sure we live within their existing budget, we found that it's actually cheaper to hire from us because of all the extra work that we do ahead of time to
Right.
find that
Right. Right.
untapped talent.
Exactly. Totally. And I think that's where like your point about efficiency, like it's there like in the bottom line when you look at, the ROI of partnering with SV, right? Not just on the
Exactly.
learner side in terms of your time and so on, but also very much so from the employer side as well. You of course like are seeing and speaking to so many of them, today. Like, what's the best piece of advice that you have for an unpolished gem?
Be outgoing. It is the
Hmm.
number one thing we get from employers is be excited about the role, be excited about the opportunity. Everyone wants to add someone to the team that not only
Yeah.
are they going to be good at the job and be efficient at the job, but that you want to have part of your team. So show up, big smile on your face, be excited to be there, and have grit. Look, this isn't an easy role.
Hmm.
This is a very, very difficult. Get used to hearing the word
Yeah.
no quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
people that are willing to kind of gut it out and go through the program. And frankly, it's not easy to get into our program. There are quite a
Yeah.
few steps to get in, and the ones that continuously come back to us and say, "Yes, this is what I want to do. I know this is where I
Yeah.
want to be. I don't want to
Yeah.
wait in line with the rest of the people that are applying to the job
Yeah.
boards."
Yeah.
If you have that grit, that determination, and of course excitement, you are the exact type of candidate that we wanted to the program.
Yeah. I love that. We used to call it like will and skill, and we can teach you
Yeah,
the skill, right? But we can't teach you the will. And you really have to that comes like deep within someone. And I think when you talk about like, bring your grit, like that is something you see that sets people apart from each other. I think that's something very common across the whole SV journey that we've seen across the entire community. That when our alums tend to be people who come from pretty non-traditional backgrounds, who have, their like life journeys haven't been like these straight lines. They've been sort of curvy and ups and down. And I think that just sort of by definition brings people to the community on the front end who have a lot of grit, who have a lot of will and motivation. And if you can get that sort of, if you can get that on the entry into SV, then we have like everything possible, every possible advantage to give you to kind of create that secret sauce that turns our grads into these successful alums that continue to get promoted and begin running teams and so on. So moving on, like the residency model, this has been, I think, one of the most exciting sort of innovations at SV in recent times. And I'm curious, what is it about this model that sets, both, employers and our students, apart from sort of the average? What is it that really helps set them up for this outsized success that we've been seeing?
yeah. Well, we have what we call internally our 4 C's. We've got career access to opportunity. We have the curriculum. We have the
Mm-hmm.
coaching, and most importantly, we have the community. So
Yeah.
when we talk about what sets this residency model apart for both the candidates and the organization, it is we're going to open those doors for the career access. We are going to make sure that we skip the line, get candidates viewed, make sure that they are very seriously taken when they're applying through the program here. By talking you up, we're going to make sure we build the relationships with the talent acquisition teams and really put forward our best candidates for them. The curriculum, we want to make sure that everybody is ready on day one. So it is very intensive, live instructor-led training with a group of classmates that are all going to be going off to different employers where we can share the learning there. But ultimately, that curriculum, we keep it up to speed, up to date with industry leaders that are doing all of the training so that they can bring the best practices in anytime there's new, again, tricks and trades, technologies. We want to make sure it gets implemented into that curriculum so that everybody is ready on day one. The coaching portion, according to Gartner, a third of SDRs don't survive that first 90 days. And a lot of that has to do with this is the first role. It is a very difficult role.
Difficult role.
And so we want to provide that coaching and that mentorship during that period to ensure that everybody feels comfortable. They have that support network where they can say, hey, I've got a question. I may not feel comfortable going to my manager right now because I don't want them to know that I don't know this answer. We want to be able to be there to answer those questions for them. And that's what really helps them get through that 90-day residency portion. It's the reason why our candidates ramp 30% faster and convert at much, much higher volume than traditional talent there. And then the most important, of course, the community aspect. This is everything from our robust alumni that with the on-the-job mentorships. It's the most tangible way to find success. Leveraging your network that you now have and you inherit just by going through the program here and having a group of people that have been there and done that before and can share their experiences, share their information, and frankly, make sure that you continue your growth throughout the program. So, you've been at this for 7 years. We talked about the community, the network, and how important that is. What role does community play in our learners' success that you've seen over the past 7 years?
I mean, in the end of the day, we're all here for career outcomes, right? Career outcomes create, foundations for our families and communities. And those career outcomes, they come from people that people in your network. There's a recent LinkedIn report that said 95% of jobs are coming from people through referrals, right? You had said that, the average resume gets reviewed for 3.5 seconds. And I was thinking about that going, that's crazy, 3.5 seconds. Because people spend people spend weeks or months trying to perfect their resume, right? And then I was thinking 3.5 seconds, there are probably cases now where it's 1/100th of that, 1/1000th of that. And so I also said this, your network is your net worth, right? So it's very possible for people who are listening to this, in the community, that your next career opportunity, probably the one that preceded it, is coming through the SV alum community, right? And there are SV alums at every single company almost that you can imagine. And the interesting thing about our alums is that you never find just one SV grad at a company. You often find 2 SV grads or 3 SV grads. And so as time has gone on, you keep saying 7 years, and I'm oh my God, 7 years. What a huge chunk of my life 7 years is. At the same time, 7 years, that is a lot of building. That is a lot of growth in this community. That is a lot of alums that are out there who started at very entry-level positions, who have now moved into, managerial, leadership positions, who are coming back to the community for SV alums because they know where the great talent is and where to go to look for it. New initiatives. So I think I'm pretty connected to how your and the team's thinking is evolving in terms of what you want to bring to market next, but maybe share a little bit, maybe with us, whatever detail like you feel comfortable going into. But like, what do you want to bring into the world through SV next?
Yeah, this to me is by far the most exciting part, and we talked about this before, but really to shed light on this and frankly present it to everybody now for the first time. We want SV to be a place of lifelong learning, and with that, one of our newest initiatives is the upskilling and reskilling program. So, look, we have thousands and thousands of alumni that are out there today that are working, gaining experience, and are ready for that next role. Job number 2,
Mm-hmm.
3, 4. We want this to be a place where you can always come back, get upskilled, and find that next role. So, with that, we're launching this new initiative where anybody can come back to the program, go from an SDR to an account executive or an SDR to an SDR manager. Maybe you want to go horizontal into account management or CSM roles. We want to make sure that this is always a place where you have that opportunity. So with that, we're announcing the new program. Please, if you're out there, you're looking for your next role, maybe you are a victim of a RIF, maybe your role is stagnant where you're at, or maybe you're just ready for that next big adventure, come back to us. We're going to do this upskilling program here, and we'll do it in the same residency model that we have today so that it will not cost you a dime to go through the program. And we'll get you matched with an employer that really kind of takes you to the next step.
So that is really exciting to hear, especially, this piece around modeling these career kind of advancements around the same residency model that we have worked with at SV that we've seen so much early success with recently. I just like, I love that. And I love how, you and the team have been thinking about this. If someone is interested in learning more about what opportunities there may be to return to SV, like, right people are what? They're gonna, like, they already know you, they're gonna DM you. Like, how do people find you?
Yes. Hop on our Slack channel. We're reinvigorating that Slack channel.
Okay, cool.
We want everybody to be interacting there. We have created a LinkedIn page specifically for SV Academy that is now being managed by SV Academy.
Cool.
Join there. Make sure it's updated on your LinkedIn profile. Come back in and message us, and we'll tell you more about that. And of course, my DMs are always open as well. So, Rahim, I've got one last question for you.
Okay, let's do it.
Really, we'll keep it nice, short, and sweet. Just finish this sentence for me.
Okay.
SV's impact is?
It is life-changing, and not only life-changing, but can also be life-giving. Just never know where an SV alum can help you out, not just in your job, but even in my case, helping take your partner to the hospital to deliver your first baby when you're surprised, in the middle of a meeting. The SV community is truly, like, it is incredibly special, and like the impact is, it's life-changing, it's lifelong, and it's something we can all be really proud of for a long time. So Mike, what's like finish the sentence? SV's impact is
lifelong. That was the exact phrase that I had set aside there, because again, going through a program, getting an education, getting a job, it's life-changing. We want to make sure that it is now lifelong. So to me, that is what SV Academy means. That is what it is going to be going forward. And I'm so excited to be building this alongside you and Joel and the rest of the team. So thank you. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, and more to come.
Let's keep it going, man. Let's keep it going. Very exciting.